Picture this. A teenage girl is crying because she finally saw her favorite artist live. She has posters on her walls, she knows every lyric, she bought merchandise, and she spends hours talking with other fans online. People call her obsessed, crazy, delusional. Now imagine a man doing the exact same thing. He paints his face with his team's colors, he spends thousands of dollars traveling to games, he screams at the television, cries when his team loses, and owns dozens of jerseys. And instead of being called crazy, he's called passionate, dedicated, or real fan. So why is one considered embarrassing while the other is celebrated? Why does society treat some forms of fandom as meaningful while others as irrational? Today I want to talk about the double standard of fandoms and why often young women are dismissed and compared to male-dominated fandom spaces. So the word fangirl, when it comes to mind, like the first thing you'll picture is like a crazy obsessed girl who will be seen like screaming, crying, being overly emotional, even unable to think rationally. And the things that this stereotype has been existing for decades. I mean, just picture like the whole Beatlemania era. Like, one would argue that around this time, critics and news outlets were less focused on the Beatles' actual music and more focused on the phenomenon it was for these teenage girls and what the effect of seeing them live and hearing their music produced to them. So instead of seeing these girls as like participating as part of like a cultural phenomenon, they're portrayed as obsessive and irrational and hysterical. Which, by the way, now that we're talking about the Beatles, I auditioned to be a Beatlemaniac for Sam Mendes' Beatles biopic in Barcelona. I didn't get it. The same thing has happened over the years. It happened with Elvis, it happened with boy bands in the 90s, people like Justin Bieber and the Bieber Fever. You can see it in boy bands in 2000s like One Direction. You are more recently seeing it in fandoms towards artists like Taylor Swift or a bunch of K-pop groups. So the question is, are fans more extreme, or have we simply decided that teenage girls' emotions are less valuable? So let's compare. A football fan might buy expensive jerseys, memorize player statistics, spend thousands to travel on matches, decorate their room with like team memorabilia, or cry after a loss. The same way that a music fan might buy albums, collect merchandise, travel to go to their favorite concert, memorize songs, create online communities. So these are incredibly similar behaviors. They both form a sense of identity, they both form a sense of community, they both involve emotional attachment, yet one is viewed as a respectable hobby while one is seen as obsessive and crazy and often mocked. So the difference isn't necessarily the level of passion, but it's the cultural value that we assign to that passion. So a pattern appears when we look at interests traditionally associated with women. So if you think about fashion, it's dismissed as like superficial. Romance novels or movies, they are like mocked as corny or unrealistic. Pop music is often considered less artistic, and celebrity culture is seen as shallow. But these industries are some of like the biggest cultural forces in the world right now, and the things that women and girls like love and are a fan of are seen as less important just because they're associated with femininity. So the problem isn't itself that women are passionate. The problem is that historically society has historically underestimated the things women are passionate about. Why are people part of fandom communities? Something that people forget is that fandom is not meaningless. Fans create community, they support artists, they influence trends, they build and are, I would say, the backbone of like many industries, like the film industry, the music industry, many others. I mean, like, just think about it, like the music industry literally depends on fans buying the album, streaming it, going to concerts, buying merchandise.
I mean, look, like these people live and breathe these projects. It's so important to them, and you know, like at least my feeling with the fans, this is like a mutual endeavor. We're doing this together. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without them, you know. So, and also the young minds. Young minds that haven't been too tainted yet, and they do it just for the passion. There's so much.
Sure, it's beautiful.
As I said, you know, there can be a side of the industry that occasionally feels a little artificial.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. And those things, I think, at least for me, that whole concept of having more fans in music. I've got a couple of people that work with me like loosely. But I'm trying to find more ways to integrate.
Same like thing, that same emotional connection that people often mock or criticize is exactly what makes entertainment fun, what makes entertainment enjoyable. So it's just, fandom is not really just a part of consumption. It's not just fandom is not just a medium of consumption. It's also a sense of participation, a sense of community. But isn't some fandom toxic? This is where we need nuance. Of course, any fandom can be toxic. I mean, harassment, stalking, attacking others, losing touch of reality, those are obviously real problems that should be spread light on. But those behaviors are not exclusive to female fans or female fandoms. Every community has extreme members.
Como ya la rompió y la compró en el Buen Fin, ni siquiera la había terminado de pagar.
Mi virginidad por un boleto. Mi virginidad por un boleto para Justin.
The issue is that female fans are often judged by their worst stereotype before their actual behavior is even considered. Maybe the question should be, why is it only being called obsessive when it's in regards to teenage girls? Because at the end of the day, fandom is about connection. It's about finding love in media, in spaces, in communities. It's about creating memories. It's about finding a sense of belonging. It's about finding comfort. So whether someone is wearing a football jersey or is wearing a Taylor Swift friendship bracelet, whether someone is wearing a football jersey in a stadium, or whether someone is crying to a Taylor Swift song with their friendship bracelets, the emotion behind it is the same. People love things, people love to consume things, people love to be part of communities. And maybe instead of like mocking that passion, we should ask ourselves why some passions are not treated the same as others. Maybe we should look at it a little differently. We should look at it a little lightly and equally. I mean, the point I'm trying to make here is not that like female fandoms are superior to male, but just that female fandoms are often degraded in regards to male fandoms, when in reality it's literally just the same thing but in a different bond. And at the end of the day, if you're happy, if you're not hurting anyone while enjoying and consuming this media, I feel like there's nothing wrong with it. There's no reason to shame anybody for it. So I feel like we should all just be a little less critical in the world. I think that's the note I'm gonna leave everyone on. I feel like we should stop judging teenage girls for every single thing they do. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not hurting anyone, everything's fine. Okay, this is me editing, and I realized I didn't do like a proper conclusion, but like really what I want to say is that, especially I made this video because I come from a place, I mean you can kind of tell, in which I've been a fangirl my whole life, and I feel like I've been like mocked for it and kind of been for it for basically all my life. And right now, seeing as how like the World Cup just happened, and like seeing how pretty much the exact same behavior that I practice is the one that football fans all over the world do, it's like, it just got me thinking in this double standard. And that's kind of like the point I was trying to make. So obviously just wanted to make a disclaimer, I'm not criticizing anyone. Like I said, I feel like you should be free to love and express yourself however you want. You should be able to love the things that you love and have passion for things that you're passionate. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing to be ashamed of that. Like I said, as long as your behaviors and your intentions aren't harmful towards anyone, we should just all live happier and more carefree, and we should like stop caring about how other people spend their time. So yeah.